Okay, hi everyone, Liber Anarchy again, doing yet another video for Therikin Exus in the freezing cold. Actually, it's not freezing cold, it's probably like in the 50s, but I'll survive. You know, I have subscribers in Iceland and Sweden and Denmark, and they're probably like, dude, really? You're cold? Anyway, so, what was that? Blindakin. First, let me define what Blindakin is. It's it's usually a derogatory term that has been coined by the other kin for some people who are just even more out there in what they do. They don't just claim to be one thing or have one or two non-human facets to their personality. They do not claim to be able to have one or two aspects of their mind. Um, they claim to have about 10, meaning they aren't necessarily multiples, i.e. they're not necessarily people who would be diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. These are people who are one person, but they identify as a whole bunch of different things. Elf, angel, phoenix, wolf, lynx, snake, rabbit, whatever, and it's the same person. And you will have some people say, oh, well, it's because I've had so many past lives, or because I've had, or because a bunch of stuff merged and created one entity that's like a whole bunch of stuff, or, yeah. But many times these people get looked down upon because usually it's perceived, and I tend to agree, as people who are just collecting really cool identities. And if that's what you want to do, it's your life. Go to it. But it's not, I don't think it's really going to benefit anybody long term. But have fun with it, you know? I mean, do whatever you need to do. Whatever helps you get out of bed in the morning. Having said that, a lot of Blindakin get laughed at because they really are just collecting these identities, and even if they're talking about this life and this life and this life, and each life leaving impressions upon the present life, they are doing it in such a way where, well, this life I was a king, and this life I was a warrior, and this life I was a na-na-na-na-na, and I'm like, goodness gracious, man. And so I guess you've decided to live as a person with student loans, working a minimum wage job, who isn't doing anything very remarkable at the moment now. But you were all these other just fabulous things, right? Oh, okay. Well, have fun with that, dude. But I think with others, it may be a realization that we are all connected and that we are all parts of the world and the universe around us, and the universe around us is part of us. I could, if I eat a steak, which may be a bad example of what I'm talking about, but if I eat a steak, the cow becomes part of me, so you might say that I am part cow. When I defecate, if I go out and shit in the woods like a bear, then that part of me goes and fertilizes the earth and fertilizes the plants, and then the plants are eaten by like a deer or something like that, or a rabbit, and then I become part of the rabbit and the deer and the plants and so on and so forth. And you know, this is basic circle of life. All my pagan and neo-pagan friends are like, yeah, what's your point? But my point actually is that I think that some Blindakin are actually realizing the interconnectedness of life, and so there is truth when we say, you know, I am this, I am this, I am that, I am that, I am that. Like the sun, the water that I drink, it all, in essence, becomes part of who I am. And who I am becomes eventually part of the earth, or even who I am affects other people, and I express parts of myself and become part of somebody else's perception, part of their life. And so, as I affect people, you could say that I become part of that person's universe, part of that person, in a way. Now, so what about the people who are claiming to be, angels with flaming swords sticking out of their buttholes? Well, maybe they are, as they create their own story, being influenced by the mythology of their culture and the cultures of others. They are connecting with these images and projecting said images. If even they are projecting them onto the canvas of their own minds, though these beings of mythology do end up then becoming part of who they are. Now then, so I don't think that Blindakin are necessarily bad people. I don't think that all Blindakin are dishonest people, and I think that there is actually some truth there, but it's the kind of truth that, could speak to all of us. Or in a way, in a way, it's the kind of truth that is true for everyone, as opposed to Joe Schmo over here is A, B, C, D, etc. It's more like we are all in some indirect way, shape, or form connected to everything else. And you could say that everything else is part of us, and then we are part of then everything else. So Blindakin actually is not that absurd. And even when it is absurd, well, I mean, what are you going to do? People are going to make up their stories and have their identities and do what makes them feel good about themselves, and getting back to the self-aggrandizement versus self-degradation, they're going to keep doing this, just like I'm going to keep doing this for a while, and somebody else is going to keep doing this for a while until we're done with it, and then maybe that's where enlightenment comes in. Maybe that's when we're just done, and we stop cycling through the cycle of birth and rebirth, or maybe we just stop. Maybe we are not forced to cycle through anything like that, but then maybe we just simply stop. We're done. We're bored. It's no fun anymore. So we're finished. So who knows? Just some thinking on my part. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I didn't run on too long. So, alright. Know thyself.